Hello everybody, today I have an updated demonstration video on the 3x5x7 Ultimate Shapeshifter Cuboid. This puzzle is made from an MFJS Meilong 7x7 version 2 as well as 3 printed plastic extensions. And it has been post-processed, where the layers have been sanded down to reduce the scratchy noise of the 3D printed layers from rubbing against each other. Across all layers except the middle axes, it sounds pretty similar to a unmodified 7x7. Now, similarly to with the recent 6x6s, MFJS has updated their 7x7s, and thus I have updated my designs to reflect this. Something that hasn't changed, first of all, are the stickers. They still look pretty great, and they are still made by a friend of mine. And to take a better look, let's go ahead and do a checkerboard pattern. And the shades look pretty good. In terms of the overall version 2 7x7, it is 1mm smaller than the previous 7x7. However, the inner cubies are significantly smaller than the other cubies, and since the extensions are based off of the size of the innermost cubies, the overall puzzle is quite compact. And to demonstrate that, let's pull out a standard size 3x3, MoU RS3, or MFJS RS3, I forget which company. I think they're the same company though. And for a 3x5x7, it's quite compact. Let's bring out a 5x5, standard size, 5x5. I actually don't remember what this is, to be honest. I think it's an ouch one. And yeah, overall quite compact. And just because I have it, I also do have the updated 5x5x7, and you'll see that it is significantly bigger just because of this needs to be extended 2 cubies in some directions versus 1 cubie only for the 5x5x7. But of course there's the same dimension across one of the axes. Alright, I think that's good for size comparison. What's more interesting is how it turns. In my opinion, the new puzzle does turn a little bit better. It's less prone to popping, and the pieces do feel of higher quality, although to be completely honest, I'm not sure whether or not that's actually the case. But let's start with some corner cutting, just because this was never really an issue. The old puzzle corner cut quite well. Honestly, the old version turned quite well. And the new version can perform similarly. Reverse corner cutting is still almost non-existent. And what we're really interested in is the ability to cut through multiple layer misalignments, of which it can do quite well. But how does it actually turn in terms of algorithmic flow? Let's go ahead and do some algorithms. So I'll get that top layer edge setup algorithm. Middle layer is a little bit hard to grip, but it still turns pretty well. And then we can do an adjacent edge swap. There we go. And I'll repeat it. There we go. What else can we do? We can do an opposite center swap. There's that. And then parity algorithm, just because. I almost messed it up the second time. Anyways, you get the idea. The turning quality of the puzzle is pretty good, and the algorithms flow pretty well. But to really demonstrate that, I'm going to go ahead and do a full scramble. And this is an ultimate Shapeshifter Cuboid. So for those of you who have not seen one of these before, we have the scramble with a specific strategy to ensure that all like pieces are broken up. Because the puzzle does bandage, it does shapeshift, as I have shown. So let's go ahead and do that. The first step of scrambling this is to scramble its shape preserved, which entails only turning the layers in 180-degree increments. Sometimes I forget that viewers may not have seen certain types of these classifications, and I do a pretty poor job of explaining what they are. But an ultimate shapeshifter can essentially shapeshift in all directions, and I will demonstrate that momentarily. So what we're doing is we're ensuring that we break up connected pieces. This puzzle will effectively reduce down to a 3x3 when it is fully shapeshifted and fully bandaged. And I think that's pretty good for that initial stage. Now stage 2 is to scramble it either like a floppy or a tower, so that's scrambling it either like a 7x7.5 or 5x5x7. In my case, I like to scramble it like a 5x5x7, which is a little bit odd, but I think it produces a much tougher scramble. So for this, now we can go ahead and turn this axis in 90-degree increments, but we're going to continue turning the red-orange axis in 180-degree increments. And now this puzzle has bandaged down to a 5x5. No, it has not. What is it bandaged down into? 3x3x7, sorry. So now we have 1, 2, 3 layers across this axis, but these are now bandaged. 3 layers across this axis, but across the final axis we still have access to all 7 layers unbandaged. Just a few more moves. Alright, I think that's sufficient. Now for the final stage, I can go ahead and turn all layers in 90-degree increments. And this puzzle has reduced down to a 3x3 most of the time. Sometimes layers will arbitrarily unbandage themselves. But right now, I can really only turn 3 layers at a time. And this is the main property of Ultimate Shapeshifters, is that you can shapeshift across each axis, and it creates quite a mess to work with. Even though it's a little bit difficult to line up layers perfectly, the corner cutting is sort of letting me turn through misalignments, which is nice. I want to go a little bit faster, I can go ahead and try. But I think that is pretty decent, and just to demonstrate, this entire block here, from this edge all the way over, is bandaged together. So in this case, we've got 1, 2, 3 pieces all bandaged together. And the solving strategy for this will be first to reduce it, solve the 3x3 stage, return it back to its original shape, solve it just like any domino, and then solve all the parities that can happen. Break parity being one of the toughest to deal with. Anyways, that is a sufficient scramble, I think. And that will do it for this updated demonstration video of the 3x5x7. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one.